And here's the thing, if you're gonna ejaculate inside of another person, you can't be shocked if another person crawls out of that person 9 months later. I mean, here's the thing. If you's about to do ejaculation, and I don't like to say it that much, but I'll say ejac. If you's about to do some ejac, your body gives you a couple warnings. First, your body says, hey, I'm going to ejac in about 8 seconds. So after that, you got 8 seconds to get out the building, Papa. If you milling around, loitering, if you are loitering inside of someone else's body, and you got the circle of life liquid about to fire out of your newts, man, you're done. And gang, Ponchatoula, that strawberry festival. Dude, and I used to go over there, boy, I ate all the strawberries. And a lot of people don't know, I didn't have, when I was young, my mom would get strawberries. And my grandmother would grow strawberries. And every now and then they would mail down a couple pints of them. And they were good. And one time I had blueberries on 4th of July when I was probably about 13. And I'd never had them before. So I'd never even had blueberries, bro, until maybe 14. And blueberries, they really are, they're unique. You got to admit it. They're unique. When you see them, you think, I ain't eating it. And then you have a couple, and then you like, dang, boy. Next thing you know, you buying a pack of them. Next thing you know, you breaking open a Swisher and putting a couple of blueberries in there. And you just getting just straight up bloonted, bruh. So, I remember I had a bunch. It was 4th of July, and I had one, and they were big. These things were, they would have been at least a size 36 or 38 pant waist. These blueberries were large. A couple of them looked like they hadn't been working and just been living off the government. That kind of thickness to them. And I had a bunch. And then a little bit later, I was out on the deck, that night. And people started tickling each other. Because right before, I feel like I was at the age, we were staying at the beach. I was with my friend. And right before the age when we started getting liquor and doing dope and all of that, that's really when people started really tickling each other. And people really, right before drugs and alcohol kind of came out, that's really when people were tickling each other a lot. A lot. You walk down the street and see 4 or 5 guys in hoodies just tickling the fuck out of some dude till his wallet fell out of his pocket. People were tickling. And the thing about tickling is at first you get giggled up. And then you go past that. Some guy will ejaculate. Sometimes you tickle somebody 15 minutes, bro, they'll ejaculate. It's crazy. Anything can happen. But what was I talking about? Oh, so everybody tickled me so much out on the patio. I was on the balcony of this. We were staying at a high-rise thing at the beach, and a hotel room. And it was way up, and they tickled me so much, dude, and I was in a bath towel. And the blueberries hit me. They'd never been in my system before, and blueberries really, your body likes them, but your body also make your body feel like there's a mystery, like in your stomach or in your butt. It'll make you, it kind of makes you feel like you got Sherlock Holmes in your stomach, and then maybe a little bit of, some of that Encyclopedia Brown in your butt. You feel me? And so I did enough blueberries, and I had to go to the bathroom and do the old, you feel me? Do a little bit of, do a little bit of that dark back work, and they tickled me so much, and my bowels gave out, because my bowels were still developing. I was 14 years old. and you don't get fully developed, you don't get fully developed in your bows until you're probably, what, 22, 24. And man, I still feel bad about it. But I didn't like talking about this. It's kind of gross, and I'm sorry to even say it, but I just dutied right off that balcony. And just from like 14 stories up, and they wouldn't stop tickling me, and the towel had come off me, and then, and everybody was tickling me. And even an old person, one of the people that was tickling me was very old. And there's something about watching somebody tickle your nude skin with really old hands that makes you... It just does something to you. And I don't even know what it does, but it definitely does it. So, anyway, sorry. But yeah, so I was just spraying basically duty off the balcony, just flying out of me, because blueberries, they get real active. They have active ingredients in them. They got that Jamie Lee Curtis in them, bro. That Activia. And that Activia, my bowels just get activated, boy, and I was just like a fire hydrant of just dark work, just flying off the 14th story of that deal. And people were getting crazy, man. Somebody down below, I think one of the security guards shot a gun up into the cloud of it. He just didn't know. And I don't blame him. If a bunch of body dark is just falling out of the sky on me, I'd fire a couple rounds into it. Praise God, bro. And look, and I hate to interrupt you, but sometimes the laughter, it'll bring it out of you. It's almost like an exorcism, but a good one. It'll make something come out of you, a secret. Sometimes people laugh so hard they tell a truth about themselves. They let a secret loose. Some guy the other day, he laughed so hard at the show, and he's just like, he came out of the closet. He's like, I'm gay. And his buddy's like, Patrick, dude, what are you talking about, Patrick? Have another beer, man. Your wife's going to pick us up in about 20 minutes, dude. She's going to be pissed, bro. Have 2 beers, Patrick, and calm down, bro. You're going to be fine. You got to get back to your wife and kids, man. So you don't know. Sometimes that giggle will just wiggle something right out of you. They're doing it. That's that Pittsburgh accent. You only hear that in Pittsburgh. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun. Hey, Randy. Dun, dun. That's very Pittsburgh. And different places have different sounds, Different places have different sounds. Some people would do something different, man. I had this boy live across the street from us named Robert, and he would put his hand in hot water and get it real hot. And he would make that kind of kissing area like a little lips with his hand where you curl your fingers and your thumb across the front. And then he would kind of kiss that when it was all warm. Everybody had a little something. We would heat up the oyster. Every now and then things got a little bit homosexual with the kid. If it's young fellas, they kissing on each other's neck a little. But when you're a child, anything gay is not gay. Gay is just children. I remember I found 2 of my nephews one time in the bed, and they in there butt naked. So what am I gonna? They're children. And one of them had a bunch of damn little Hershey's Kisses in there with him. He had a whole damn stack, a couple of them on his belly and stuff, and some of them were melting a little bit, and the chocolate was getting on his skin. But one guy sent me a whole album. It's just him and his mother fist fighting over a Salisbury steak. Like, what the fuck is this? Look, I liked it a little bit, but after the 3rd track, you're like, damn, y'all need to go to neutral corners. Y'all need to go to neutral corners because y'all ain't coming to real conclusions about this meat. Happy November or Brovember, whatever it is. There's too many. It's like, oh, it's Hovember. Some girls like, oh, I'm doing sex with everyone this time. I'm like, what? What are you talking about, Mom? Or somebody's like, oh yeah, dude, it's Crowvember. I'm only buying a couple of buzzards. I'm buying a crow from the pet shop. You ain't doing shit, bro. And they're like, yeah, I'm doing it for like leprosy or some kind of, there's just too many things now. It's like, oh, it's it's Frovember, and I'm gonna grow out my fro, or I'm gonna grow out my leg, or if you're white, you only can do a fro around your wiener, around your kind of thighs. They had a smoothie outfit over there I worked at, and it was a bootleg kind of health and wellness shop, and it was called Frozen Options was the name. It was like a startup smoothie deal. Frozen Options. And self-tanning eventually was, but that came later. But so, and they had a manager. The guy, it was just some guy who was basically trying to hire people and then have sex, trying to hook up with the lady, trying to hire cute chicks or even busted chicks and get them to do a lot of tanning until they looked attractive and then make love to them. I think that was kind of some of his, business model, because he was kind of sad on the inside. I remember when I was growing up, we had a lady that worked this lady, we lived in an apartment for a little bit, and it was 4 apartments in one big building. And we would play football in the backyard out back, and they had that big area, and we'd get out there and just pretend we were heroes, And you had different, you had a hole in a certain part you had to go around, and they had drainage coming off of somebody's laundry room, so you had to be careful. And if somebody was running their dryer, that hot air was puffing out of one area. So that's where we would do the intros at the beginning of the game. We say, oh, starting quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. And your boy would come running out of that dryer smoke by the laundry room. And then we played a game. But they had a lady who did verbal sex work by us. And she was like a hotline worker. Back in the day, they used to have if you called on the phone line, you dial 1-900 big titty or something. A woman would answer. And she'd be like, yeah. This is Diane, This is Diane breast or something like that. This big titty. What can I do for you? And she would sit there and she would oh yeah, I'm taking your pants off right now. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm choking you right now. Oh, I'm spitting in your belly button. You're like, what? I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah, I'm hiding olives in your ass. They would get real nasty and stuff. But she was doing verbal sex work, and every minute she kept the person on the line, she would get more money for the family. But one of her window was down by the other end zone where we played football, so you didn't even want to go score down there sometimes when she was getting real vulgar, She'd be like, oh, I got 3 olives. I got 3 olives in my ass, You're like, oh, I'm making martinis in between my tats. She'd be just getting crazy. Oh, yeah. She'd be down there, yeah, give it to me. You're like, what is going on?